It looks like we're ready to go. This is the 5th Spanish-speaking Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation, and we'll be speaking with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation at the Spaceship Institute, along with other knowledge seekers such as Marco and possibly Armin. And we have the Spanish-speaking people on the Skype call, including the Mexican folks from the Mexican group, and they hope to bring up the topics of air pollution and water pollution in terms of wastewater treatment and how to remove certain things from the air, as well as some other questions. Okay, so we'll move along and get a hold of Mr. Keshe at the Spaceship Institute and see what he has to say for today. Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. That was a quick one. We are ready when you are.
Yep, you're on. Go. You can take it away, I guess, unless Enrique or Joseph would like to say something first. I'm not sure.
Yes, go ahead in the Spanish.
Okay. Enrique?
Okay, let me make the introduction and you follow. Okay, Mr. Keshe, as you said last time, we would be doing experiments or knowledge in the areas of energy, which will not be treated here, and also in the environment. And thinking of that, we came up with a couple of possible questions that are important for Mexico City, and for the rest of other countries. One is regarding the air pollution of Mexico City, which is terrible. And it creates a lot of problems because, well, it has part of decontaminate the pollutants that are common with this case from the cars, the sulfur dioxide, the monoxide of the carbon monoxide, and all vapors and suspended particles. But the most toxic ones are ozone and nitrogen dioxide, and also particles. Those are just combination, and there's no solution for it. What they're doing is they are stopping the cars from circulating one day a week, not all of them, the old ones, or two or twice per week, and that creates many other problems. But after seeing what you mentioned in the video of Fukushima and what you say at the end of that video, that it can be done with other gases, the question is whether this, let's say about the nitrogen and the ozone, can be treated the same way. I mean, coming up with those kits of CO2, making up some kits of nitrogen, or what would be the possibility of dealing with it?
Okay.
What's the second question?
Enrique,
Yes, perhaps we should translate
la segunda
that as well.
pregunta. Okay, let me translate it first.
Yeah.
Buenos días, tardes o noches a todos ustedes, depende de donde se encuentren. Este es nuestro quinto sesión en español de la Fundación Keshe. Y el día de hoy pretendemos tratar los temas de limpieza, de la contaminación del aire y del agua. Esto surge precisamente a raíz de los problemas que tiene la Ciudad de México, en especial en contaminación del aire, donde el gobierno pues, ha tratado con medidas como el hoy no circula, de mitigar un poco los efectos. Sin embargo, pues no es una solución definitiva ni es una solución real al verdadero problema. Entonces, el día de hoy pretendemos tratar estos temas derivados de los videos que hemos visto respecto a la contaminación radioactiva en Fukushima. Enrique, te preguntó algo, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, the question is whether how could we deal with the contamination, the air pollution, mostly from the very toxic pollutants like nitrogen dioxide and ozone.
Okay, and Mr. Keshe asked for the second question as well, which involves the wastewater treatment. Is that correct?
Okay, yeah. The wastewater treatment. Well, in Mexico, there's a great lag for solving the water pollution all over the country in many parts. There have been some advances and there are many technologies that are being applied here and there, but the cost of them are not allowing it to be very effective. We thought that maybe talking about a particular important problem like in the nearby city of Puebla has an aquifer that is contaminated with sulfur, and there has not been solution for in any type of treatment in order to take advantage of the availability of the water, but making it a healthy water. Those are the two aspects. Maybe they are very correlated.
You want to translate first?
Yes, I can do that. Le pregunto al señor Keshe que la segunda parte, la segunda pregunta después de la contaminación del aire es el problema de contaminación del agua en muchas partes del país y seguramente de todos los países de habla hispana. Es un problema mundial, pero en México se ha tenido un retraso grande en resolver contundentemente estos problemas. Hay disponibles muchas tecnologías, se aplican, a veces unas funcionan mejor que otras, pero en algunos casos no se tiene una solución completa. Y mencionaba el caso de la ciudad de Puebla, que está cerca de la Ciudad de México, que es una población grande, pero tiene un acuífero también grande abajo de la ciudad, pero el cual está contaminado con azufre y no se ha encontrado un proceso de limpieza para esa contaminación, y es el tema que le proponemos al señor Keshe, que nos pueda orientar sobre cómo se podría resolver con las tecnologías que él maneja. Go ahead.
First of all, regarding the air pollution, and with the air pollution, we have considered that part of the air pollution composition is the CO2 factor, where once as we have started putting out the CO2 units out, by extracting the CO2 from the environment, and in the process of doing so, we have seen the production of amino acids on the top layer as fat. This automatically will affect the balance in the ozone and the nitrogen.
Oh, I see.
So what we expect, I have discussed this, I talked even to the Chinese yesterday in a long conversation, is that what we see is once you remove the CO2 in the large quantities, as a number of people will start doing now, in that process, by producing the amino acid layer on the top, the disbalance will appear anyway. This has to be proven. This is what is next. This is the next step to produce enough of these units that people will start seeing the change. One point which is not understood and is vitally important is the nitrogen and nitrogen dioxide, which is in the air, is not due to the fuel burned. Is due to the nitrogen which is coming from upper atmosphere down, majority of it. So this is the process where us as human have no control over, where the CO2 blocks and allows the conversion of nitrogen dioxide into the process from the nitrogen which is coming from upper atmosphere. Because nitrogen is not going up, nitrogen is produced by interaction of the gravitational field of the Earth and the sun at upper layers, and it has nothing to do with the burning of the fuel. The only thing burning of the fuel does is creates the barrier which slows the descending of this matter from upper atmosphere to lower. With the moisture, it becomes nitric oxide. So once we remove the CO2, then the whole process balance changes.
Okay.
Sorry it was a bit too long, but you have to explain it that you understand how you translate it.
I'm gonna try. Derivado de la pregunta sobre cómo purificar o limpiar de la contaminación del aire y erradicar los óxidos de nitrógeno, que son partículas que generan acidez en la atmósfera. La respuesta que da Mr. Keshe es que es importante entender que los óxidos de nitrógeno se crean precisamente por las condiciones de humedad que se dan en la atmósfera y por un desbalance del CO2 que hay precisamente en la atmósfera. Entonces, el problema se resuelve balanceando la emisión de partículas de CO2. Esto es, atrapando el CO2, se logra controlar la emisión de los demás contaminantes a la atmósfera.
Yo quisiera
¿Algo
añadir,
más, Enrique?
Sí, creo que es importante, muy, muy importante para nosotros que entendamos. Nos dice que algo que no se ha entendido es que ni el ozono ni el nitrógeno están generados por la emisión de los escapes de los vehículos. Lo que se genera es el CO2 y ese es el principal problema. Y que el nitrógeno procede en realidad de las capas superiores de la atmósfera, que sus campos gravitacionales interactúan con los campos gravitacionales de la Tierra y entonces baja, vamos a decir. Pero esto es porque la capa de CO2 está permitiéndolo. Eso es lo que ocurre. Es un resultado de la presencia del CO2, pero no es el problema original. El problema original que causan los automóviles, como yo lo entiendo, es esta contaminación de dióxido de carbono. Y al terminar con esta contaminación, se evitaría ya la presencia tanto del ozono como del nitrógeno, que no, el nitrógeno no es generado por las fuentes contaminantes de la Tierra. Esto me parece muy importante. Adelante, go ahead.
So what we see is the absorption of CO2 in the containers, reduction in the level of CO2 in the atmosphere. We will bring most of these pollution, or some of the majority of these pollutions, in a lower level that becomes a ground level. In fact, we still be inhaling them. The reality is that the CO2 itself is keeping most of these elements afloat in the air. And once we start extracting substantial amount of CO2 from the city environment, we take the balloon away for these materials to be on the ground. So the only thing we do with the capture of the CO2 in respect to the pollution in the cities like Beijing or Mexico or Shanghai, or even in Tehran, and we see it in big cities, is not that we're going to eliminate, we just change the height position. What does this mean? It means that CO2, once we extract as a gas, make it into a gas, there is a less balloon to inflate, so the pollution will become part of the directly surface and natural environment of the, what do you call it, the ground level. And what happens, because they land, you have a cleaner air on the upper atmosphere or what you think is cleaned up, but all you have done, you have repositioned the pollution from the air on the ground level. And this is what most of the people who speak about cleaning up the cities do not understand. You cannot go in the air and just vacuum everything up.
Great. Oh, wow, wow.
Wow. ¿Quieres traducirlo, Enrique, o lo traduzco yo?
No, adelante, adelante.
Ok. Una de las cosas que debemos de entender es que para erradicar los contaminantes del aire, pues no se puede hacer precisamente a nivel de la Tierra. Como lo explicó hace rato, la principal origen de los contaminantes es precisamente la acumulación de CO2. Y es precisamente resolviendo este problema como se puede, o capturando estas moléculas, como se resuelve el problema. Ahora, la manera de resolverlo, la manera de capturar las partículas precisamente es haciéndolo a nivel de tierra. Esto es capturándolo en la superficie mediante los sistemas para generar los famosos GANs de partículas de CO2, es como se va limpiando el aire de la atmósfera. Esto es que atrapamos el CO2 que está en la atmósfera, lo convertimos en GANs, lo dejamos a nivel de tierra y automáticamente con esto la atmósfera empieza su proceso de limpieza.
Bueno,
¿Algo
no,
más que añadir?
sí, lo que ocurre es que el nitrógeno baja, porque ya no tiene, el CO2 sostiene, vamos a decir, mantiene arriba la capa esta que se forma de nitrógeno como atraída, y al disminuir el CO2, al bajar los niveles de CO2, entonces pueden bajar esos otros contaminantes también. Y entonces ya se resuelven abajo. Eso es lo que yo entendí. Eric, no se trata de eliminar los contaminantes, nos dice, sino de reposicionar las capas de contaminantes. Eso es lo que no se ha entendido. nos dice el señor Keshe, que es igual
With
en
this process
México,
is simple.
en Beijing, en Tokio, hasta en Irán, en todas las grandes ciudades, pero se está atacando inadecuadamente.
Okay, go ahead.
So now the solution sits not in CO2 box. CO2 box is a temporary bridge. The actual solution sits in the dynamic reactors. This is the future of the technology. This is why we're testing, and now you start seeing different type of reactors for testing, where we can copy the gravitational magnetic field of, let's say, ozone, that be able to attract ozone in certain equal amount in different positions in one area in the city. This is very important. This I explained to some city engineers and some scientists. If you, for example, put 2 posts or 3 posts in the city to absorb the ozone, when we achieve the gravitational magnetic field of ozone, that we can make a magnet for it in a way, then you find all the ozones going to one direction, to one place. So we defeat the object. Now you have a wind tunnels of ozone or wind tunnels of CO2. So this has to be done in a very systematic way across the cities, that we do not create more problems. Because if you're familiar with ozone, ozone has huge problems. So the future of pollution in the cities lies in 2 ways. With the production and introduction of the magnetic gravitational system cars or transportation, which is coming up. And secondly, with introduction of the gravitational magnetic field system that can extract or absorb the chemicals from there. The change with the gravitational magnetic field transportation is that we don't put any more gases into the air to start with. So the link is broken. Secondly, whatever we have put up, we have to clean up. And once we introduce in the coming time, very soon, sooner than a lot of people expect, because we have spoken with some manufacturers, we might do it, to put the into the cars to reduce them below 200 kilo, automatically the cities are cleaned up anyway. But the problem is all the mess, all the pollution in the air now is contaminating the land, on the floor, on the ground, and then it contaminates the water systems, the breathing systems. On the other hand, the rapid reduction in CO2 and other contaminations in the air will create a new dimension illnesses for the health of people, because we are used to these kind of contaminations. It's taken us years to adapt to it. So the solution is not a CO2 box. The solution is not cleaning up the air so rapidly. The solution is to do the thing in an organized manner, and it has to be done at an international level, not by one country. You can
Enrique.
translate.
Adelante, ¿no? Tú traduce.
Okay. Obviamente la solución para limpiar el aire no está o no radica en los en los cajas de CO2 para hacer los GANs, sino en los reactores dinámicos. La solución permanente, una solución permanente real y real, pues consiste en romper la cadena que lo genera. Esto es cambiar la manera en que nos transportamos. El Mr. Keshe está diciendo que utilizar vehículos que de alguna u otra manera operen con los sistemas magnético-gravitacionales, que ya pronto serán una realidad, resolverán y romperán pues precisamente la cadena de contaminación que actualmente existe en las ciudades. Sin embargo, esto no exime de que limpiemos la contaminación que tenemos hasta el momento. Esta contaminación es tan grande que está afectando también la tierra y el agua. Y es importante que empecemos con un proceso de limpieza.
Y la salud.
Exactamente, para la salud. ¿Y cómo lograr este sistema de limpieza? Utilizando los reactores dinámicos. Esta es la solución. Poner varios reactores dinámicos. Tenemos que entender también que parte de lo que hay que capturar es el ozono. Uno de los grandes contaminantes que hay en la atmósfera precisamente es el ozono. Y es importante tener este elemento lo más erradicado posible de la atmósfera baja. Enrique, ¿algo más que agregar?
No, yo entendí en el principio que dijo que se copia los campos magnéticos gravitacionales del ozono, por ejemplo, y se ponen 10 reactores. Yo entendí que en unos postes o en algún distribuido sobre la ciudad.
Sobre la ciudad, sí.
Sí, pero entendí bien que son unos postes, o sea, en una estructura para que estén sostenidos y operando, y que eso pues, le toca a la ciudad hacerlo, ¿verdad? Y que con eso se atrae esos reactores dinámicos, van a hacer un túnel de viento que va a atraer las contaminantes. En este caso estaba hablando del ozono, pero pues igualmente podría ser del nitrógeno. Y esto permite pues extraer los contaminantes que hemos puesto en eh, en la atmósfera, todos estos antecedentes, como tú lo explicaste muy bien, y que tiene esos efectos graves en el agua, en la salud, en el ambiente, ¿no? A mí me encanta la idea. Adelante. Go ahead.
Ok.
So this, what people shouting for cleaning up the CO2 and global warming has to become international program that different nations simultaneously do the same job, that the health of the planet and the health of the living entities on the planet is not touched so drastically and is done in a slow basis. So the cleaning of CO2, even Mexico City or Beijing, has to be done over a period of 10 to 20 years in a small, slow process. Because if the extraction is too fast, this will create new health problems without a doubt. And if the extraction of all the materials is not done simultaneously and in equal measure, then we'll find the materials which are floating on the top will land on the bottom. And in one go, in one system, and because the earth cannot absorb it, we come with new contamination of vegetation and the rest. So this global warming, dirty air in the cities is not the problem of one nation. The smallest nation in Africa to the biggest industrial nations, all have and will participate in cleaning up. But this has and needs time. The systems for it, we have already released the CO2 kit, so it's not that it's a possibility now. It's in a large quantities. We are talking about millions of these units in the coming years will be in the market for the people who want to see how they participate in it. But in a larger scale, in the coming time, these CO2 kits will be replaced with magnetic gravitational unit kits that People will absorb according to the magnetic field and not by conversion through a media like water to a solid state. These are the things, the changes which are on the way. CO2 is done. Very soon we will be able, in a matter of maybe a year, 2 years maximum, I think, we will have the dynamic system absorbing polluting materials, be it from the water, be it from the air. The process is the same. So your question 1 and 2 comes back to one thing. How far we can go, where we can go, and how we can use the materials we absorb. Because the problem now, once you absorb it, what you're going to do with it? It's everlasting ending problem. What are we going to do with the ozones which we capture? What are we going to do with the nitrogen oxide we capture? What do we have, how we can apply them? Or now we have to make tanks to store them like Fukushima? The people who talk about CO2 with the answer done, these are the people who don't even have got a clue about the science of the air pollution. It's so deep. And now that we have found a solution and there is available solution, it has to be done correctly by all the nations together. Go ahead.
Ok. Bueno, la solución para la contaminación del aire y del agua, que es un mecanismo muy parecido, no se da o no puede darse en una sola ciudad. Esto es un programa que tiene que ser internacional. No puede ser mediante un mecanismo acelerado, ni tampoco puede ser un mecanismo muy lento, porque cualquiera de los dos extremos ocasionaría problemas muy serios a la salud. Y por otro lado, el hacerlo en un solo lugar, en una sola ciudad, se estaría atrayendo pues toda la contaminación a un solo punto, y esto también tendría problemas como consecuencia de. Entonces, es muy importante que la limpieza del aire se haga mediante un programa internacional en donde pues todas las naciones participen y estén trabajando en esto con muchas unidades, muchos reactores. Uno de los cuestiones que es importante tener en cuenta es precisamente el hecho de que acelerar los procesos traen consigo otros problemas. Una vez que se captura el CO2 y todos los demás contaminantes, estos quedan en la tierra, quedan cristalizados en formas de gas, en estado sólido. Y la siguiente problema que surge es qué hacer con estos elementos que quedan capturados, cómo disponer de ellos. Ese es uno de los temas que es importante tomar en cuenta. La solución no nada más es limpiar el aire, sino encontrar una solución integrada y completa, una solución global. Y eso también incluye el qué hacer con las partículas que quedan atrapadas. Enrique, ¿deseas agregar algo? Hola. Hello.
Sí, ya, es que había apagado el micrófono, perdón.
Sí.
Es que entendí que el señor Keshe nos dice que el programa que se organice debe llevar un ritmo de que se haga entre 10 y 20 años, y porque si no, pues se crean problemas en la salud, porque estamos acostumbrados a ello, y el cambio afecta a la salud. Pero además esto que dices tú de que si se limpiara una ciudad, México atraería, porque el ambiente cubre toda la atmósfera de la Tierra, traería otros contaminantes. Tiene que ser por eso un programa internacional y que los reactores dinámicos que pueden ayudar en esto, dice que estarán listos, diseñados en un plazo de 1 a 2 años máximo para poder pretender un programa de este tipo. No conviene, pues, entonces que se acelerara el inicio de esto hasta no estar preparados y equipados y, pues, también concientizados los responsables del tema y la propia población, ¿verdad? Nada más, muy,
Claro.
muy importante. Gracias. Go ahead.
So
Have a-
what is the problem? What the problem is, how humanity as collectively comes to collect or sort this poisoning, that whatever you call it, CO2. Because once now we understand the process of producing GANs, and we understand in that process we produce amino acid, and these amino acids, like Mexico, you're near a city, you're near a lake, you're near a water, whatever it is, wherever there is a city, by tradition over thousands of years, is near water somewhere. And when you put these systems to clean up, and the ones you cannot clean up land on the water, then you create a second pollution in the water, drinking water. So the problem with the contamination of CO2 and the people, the way they talk about it, global warming, is the talk of those who do not understand the gravity of this problem. And it's not a solution by one nation. What you produce in Mexico through the circulation of air lands up somewhere else on us. The same as Fukushima. Fukushima is an island called Japan in the middle of ocean. But now from North China, Canada, North America, all the way to Europe, Scandinavian countries are polluted by the radiation from Fukushima. But it's the same with whatever you produce in Mexico City, we breed it here in Europe. Just delayed time. And what we produce, you breed. So this process of CO2, what we call, we have to put as global contamination of the air, water together, has to be solved simultaneously from where we see and where we stand. On the other hand, when you create these CO2s, then it's digested by the animals, digested by human beings, used by the vegetation, and we eat it. So it goes back to what we always say, we do not know the effect of this. It's the same as we say, do not touch CO2, do not drink CO2, do not eat or whatever. A lot of people are doing it. So we do not know the outcome of this process. But now we are using the CO2 for production of energy. CO2 has been tested by the universities in respect to illnesses. It's been tested for radiation absorption. We do not know what effect it has on the air, or on the skin or in the stomach. That's why we keep on telling everybody, do not eat or drink these things. And a lot of foolish people have already done so to see what it is. We explain the connection between CO2 and amino acid, what it can do, how it can be absorbed. But it does not mean that you have to go and drink it, because we suggest, and this goes for the universities and institute to test it, to create data, what it is, what it can be done. But if you link the CO2 with amino acid, it's exactly what your body is made of. But we don't know what kind of energy is. We don't know what other elements are attached to this amino acid on the surface of the water which you touch. That's why we say do not touch, keep away from nanomaterial, do not touch them, do not play with them. And some stupid people go and drink it and do whatever they like with it. It's their problem, not ours. Carry on, translate.
Yeah. la disposición de los residuos conlleva en sí un problema. No conocemos, no sabemos cuáles son los efectos que pueda tener en el ser humano. Esto es muy importante entender que el CO2 que queda atrapado con los GANs y todos los nanomateriales generados, no conocemos qué efectos puedan tener en el ser humano. Esto es algo que todavía requiere investigación y es por ello que se hace mucho énfasis en que no se juegue, no se debe de jugar con los GANs generados. No se deben de no hacer una ingesta de ellos y tampoco tocar. Enrique, ¿algo más que agregar?
No, en general está muy bien. Él refiere específicamente la relación del CO2 con los aminoácidos, eso es ya el cuerpo, ¿verdad? La biología, que no se sabe y que se tiene que cuidar mucho, no tocarlos. Y por otro lado, nos dice que por eso es que si no se tiene que limpiar al mismo tiempo el aire, la tierra y el agua, porque si se limpia uno, pero se vierten desechos a la tierra, si se deja que lleguen a la tierra, que lleguen al agua, pues nada más estamos creando la segunda contaminación o tercera contaminación, yo diría. Tiene que ser hecho en conjunto. Esto es realmente, para mi opinión, es que es un gran reto. Déjame decirlo en inglés. Mr. Keshe, it is my opinion that this dealing with the contamination, the pollution of air, land, and water at the same time is it's quite a challenge for any country, for any group of professionals. It is a very important reflection, a very important statement. Thank you very much. We don't want to go into the second solution.
Yeah, the thing is, with the problems with the pollution or depollutionizing this planet, it's much bigger than we polluted it. The people who speak about cleaning up a pollution the way they talk as it's just the CO2, they don't understand the gravity of this problem. Global warming is not only CO2. It's very much, as I said, I always said, you breathe oxygen, it crosses your lung, as people don't understand. The pollution at this moment of time, it has become accumulative over centuries, or the past century, and it has crossed borders from air to ground, ground to water. And a total solution has to be found, not just by CO2. But what we've done, we've taken the first step to show that it can be done. At least we can solidify it. At least we can contain it in a way we can see. A lot of people put a lot of things around the internet that this is not CO2, is this, is that. These are the people who are paid by the people who are selling the green plants for you to pay, for us to plant a tree somewhere in Amazon for you. Now they're losing their income of thieving. We see it continuously. Those people who say this is not a CO2 and this is a crook job, these are the people who are losing their income by crooking people and stealing from people for years, selling trees which never get planted. Now they see their interests jeopardized, so they try to discredit us. But we understand the full potential of what decontamination and CO2 and the rest has. So very simply, our answer to, we see this coming from different countries, that this is a good job, this is the CO2, and this is it, it's going to be a criminal offense, blah, blah. These are the people who have been robbing the nations, setting tree plants on using, when you buy a green air, you fly with, you buy a tree to plant for the flight you did. These are the people who are losing their income, so now they have to discredit to carry on robbing and stealing. Look into their private bank accounts. If there are people who understand the total pollution problem, the total pollution problem is not just CO2. Let me explain to you something very clear you can translate. There is a huge amount of radioactive material which is floating into these materials. You try to bring these down with the radioactives to land in the waters too. At the moment, part of this moisture, part of the pollution, is reflecting and keeping part of the radioactive material airborne in the air, but how long it stays, we don't know. So, if you want to understand the extent of the problem is huge, is gigantic, and it has to be done in according to the international laws and against the will of the people who have already robbed the humanity. Translate, please.
Okay. Enrique, ¿puedes ayudarme con este, por favor?
Es una advertencia importante que nos hace el señor Keshe de que hay una mala intención de quienes dicen que la contaminación es solamente el CO2, pero el CO2 no es la única causa ni del calentamiento global, resolver, y de la contaminación que afecta la salud, la economía, etcétera. Que estas ofertas que se hacen de hacer programas y apoyar que se planten árboles, por ejemplo, o que se limpie tal o cual cosa, independientemente de ver, o sea, aisladamente de ver el programa total, es simplemente un refugio de quienes no encuentran qué hacer o no, han perdido los empleos y están queriendo robar, porque eso no tiene un efecto. Eso es lo que nos dice, no tiene un efecto verdadero. Lo que se tiene que entender es que es una contaminación total, global, y esto es muy difícil, se requiere un esfuerzo muy grande para comprenderlo, para atacarlo, para resolverlo y obviamente para financiarlo. Pero hay también muchas soluciones, pienso yo, que algo que no se ha reconocido es que muchos contaminantes radioactivos están flotando precisamente junto con las otras sustancias que están contaminando el aire. Y que esos contaminantes están ahí y viajan a lo largo de la atmósfera terrestre y que no han desaparecido y que se tienen que tomar en cuenta también para neutralizarlos, porque si no, pues van a caer en alguna otra parte, en algún lugar del planeta. Nos dijo que la contaminación de Fukushima, por ejemplo, pues no nada más se ha quedado en Fukushima, que Canadá, China, todos los demás países que están más o menos cerca y bueno, en su momento cualquier país va a tener también los efectos de esa contaminación radioactiva que no se puede esperar que se degrade naturalmente. Hay que ir por ella. Este es un tema que hay que tomar muy en serio y que debe, en mi opinión, debe motivarnos a plantearlo, a llevarlo a los foros nacionales e internacionales y que se pueda organizar con las tecnologías que ya estamos viendo que podemos proponer con las tecnologías que nos indica el señor Keshe. Es muy importante. Thank you. Go ahead.
So what we see as what we call the CO2 trading, which is set up by the Dutch, is nothing but actually open day robbery, as I always told them. Because the amount of trees have been sold by the people who bought trees to be planted around the world by these companies, apparently the whole earth should have been replanted 3 or 4 times. But why do we have deserts still? I don't understand. So the people who start opposing the Keshe Foundation in what we started as CO2 kit, which is now marketed, and in the coming time cleaning up our other poisons, these are the people who are losing their income by thieving and robbery. So they accused the foundation because now they don't have any more to rob. So we see this on the interface, what do you call it, Facebook and internet. They tell us the CO2, we go, they reported us to the military and the rest, and they laughed. They understood what it is. They analyzed our plates, they analyzed the process what we absorb. They have seen the reports from the nuclear centers. And these people who write all these things are the people who don't understand exactly what air pollution is except the bank accounts. So to clean up Mexico City, to clean up the disasters, even the oil disasters which you had in the Gulf of Mexico, and because of it I spent 11 days to be treated by the animals in what they call themselves civilized nation. And I was kept in airport in Canada. I was on the way to Gulf of Mexico because of BP oil disaster, to show that the methane gas from the oil wells could be absorbed directly, that the fish would not be damaged. Because at that time we already had a test. We knew CH4 can be changed into a solid state at the source where the leak was, so there would have been no contamination in that way from the methane and the other things. So the people from the Mexican government knew what I was online to do with all my equipments in my suitcase. They got me picked up in Canada. So this is one of the reasons nobody is there to help humanity except if humanity help himself. And the scientists like us who make that move are threatened to be killed, and we've seen what has happened. So I know exactly what you go through in Mexico and the polluted nations, and I will spend enough time, 11 days, to be told every morning I'm going to be executed if I defend myself. So this has to be done. Exactly. That's why I spent 11 days in Toronto airport. I was on the way to Mexico City with the air pollution in the Gulf of Mexico with BP, with all my equipments in my suitcase.
Maybe we should get that part translated. That would be good.
Yeah, carry on, translated.
Ok. El problema, uno de los grandes pseudo soluciones que han propuesto, pues realmente solo son eso, son soluciones parciales que están encaminadas a enriquecer a unas cuantas organizaciones. El plantar más árboles en sí no es más que una solución parcial a un problema mucho mayor. Y obviamente, pues una solución definitivamente o de fondo atenta contra grandes intereses. Y obviamente, pues esto tiene consecuencias y problemas mayores en el sentido de que pues va o se encuentra una oposición muy grande a la implementación de soluciones de raíz. Nos cuenta Mr. Keshe un desafortunado incidente precisamente con el gobierno de México. Él trataba de apoyar y solucionar el problema de la contaminación del aire de la Ciudad de México y estuvo varado en el aeropuerto de Toronto por 11 días, precisamente porque estaba trastocando intereses que no buscan más que su beneficio económico. Enrique, ¿puedes continuar con algunas aportaciones adicionales? No se te oye, Enrique.
Perdón, otra vez el micrófono. Que complementar que algo importante, el señor Keshe venía para ofrecer soluciones al gobierno de México del gran daño que se causó con los derrames del Golfo de México, de la British Petroleum, allá en las plataformas petroleras de Estados Unidos. Ellos causaron el problema, pero se vino para acá y en las autoridades mexicanas no sabían qué hacer con esa situación. Y obviamente, pues los intereses de esa empresa y de todos los negocios de las petroleras era hacer ver que no habría ningún problema, que todo se iba a depositar en el fondo, que iba a estar muy sencillo, pero había problemas mucho más graves. Y cuando el señor Keshe vino con todos los elementos y argumentos para que el gobierno de México pudiera actuar en favor de su ecología, pues se logró que se le detuviera allá en Canadá por pues, causas de esas que se inventan cuando se quiere detener a alguien. Y lo tuvieron 11 días detenido en el aeropuerto de Canadá y ya no pudo venir a proponer, a explicar sobre todo la gravedad de la situación de ese criminal acto de la contaminación que ocurrió en el derrame del Golfo, así llamado. Nos dice que los científicos que están o estamos hablando de esto, jalando las mangas para que se dé atención a esto, estamos en ello mientras que pues, los intereses creados, económicos, políticos, están queriendo que se borre esa conciencia, que no se cree esa conciencia y que se mantengan simplemente los negocios de ellos mismos ofreciendo soluciones parciales, como nos ha explicado muy bien y tú lo has traducido muy bien. Es una advertencia grande que nos dice el señor Keshe. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Go ahead.
Can we go now?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, okay. You have to realize we put our microphone on mute, and because then you don't want to listen to the conversation translating. And we're trying to understand how much Spanish words we know. And Armand comes from the word California, so he's teaching us different words in Spanish. So, you know, so what we decided is that every time we do now different languages like Spanish, Italian, and Chinese, you have to start teaching us, at least we learn a little bit. One word or 2 words. At least we understand what you're talking about. So we become, at least we all learn 1 or 2 languages when we see each other. No, Esperanto will not succeed. So we learn 2, 4, 6, 7 words today. And you don't want to know the 8th one. Okay, so this is what the position is with pollution. And this is where the future holds. We do not see, I personally, with my experience, see that the governments are actually looking for a solution for pollution. Because the way the pollution is, it makes a lot of money for a lot of people. Keeps a lot of hospitals busy, keeps a lot of funeral parlors going, keeps a lot of churches paid, because when you bury somebody, you have to pay for it. So the best friend of the what I call money-making chain is the pollution. And if you are looking to solve the problem, it has to be done by the citizens of the world in the way we have started it, in a small but a rapid way with the CO2, then using of the CO2 to produce energy, to create motion, that we don't add any more to it. And God help us, somehow the rest will help us to gather knowledge, to extend the knowledge to do the cleanup. This is man helping the man without blaming the man who appointed the man to destroy the man. If you understand exactly what that means. We have created the problem ourselves, we have to solve the problem ourselves, and don't blame our governments to solve the problem we have created.
Mr. Keshe, can I add something at this moment?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had an idea that what in relating to what you're saying right now, that it's up to the people of Earth, and it is up to basically the way it works is the consumers end up making the decisions these days, with large companies such as Amazon and Google and Apple and so on. And these companies are conscious of this pollution aspect, and they want to make their image really good. So Amazon, for example, has this drone system they're working on, where they have a system they want to be able to deliver their goods within 10 minutes of ordering online. You'll have your goods delivered to your
Yeah, but
door
it still
with a
needs
drone.
fuel. You
Pardon me?
still need fuel.
Well, this
You
is
hold more
this is
pollution.
my exact idea here. So the solution, if we were to all work on it, would be to offer, for example, a flying drone to these companies that is not based on propellers and the energy systems that we currently have, but are based on your technology. And furthermore, if that drone could eat the CO2 while it was flying, then you would have a perfect product that those companies would embrace, would fully endorse, and put their money into as a developing system. And because there's no people in these drones, there's less hazards for if it
MIT.
crashes and so on. Pardon me?
Sorry, I was just I forgot my microphone was open. Carry on.
Okay.
You can.
So I'm thinking that, I mean, it sounds a little out there, but I mean, you've got this system that you're working on that is um, working toward lift. We have CO2 systems that take CO2 out of the air and make energy. And it seems like you combine all of those systems together, what we have is a CO2 eating, flying drone that can deliver things for people so they don't have to drive in their cars to run around and get things. And it would eliminate that aspect of the pollution and gradually introduce this idea to people that, wow, they see this floating drone that hovers into their home to deliver things for them. You want a pizza, it'll be delivered hot within seconds, basically. Um, I think that would invigorate people and make them realize there are alternatives and we don't have to suck up this pollution and so on. So it may come through, my point is it may come through those large corporations because now they see the necessity and the money, control and money sort of situation that they can get into there. What do you think about all that? Is that too far-fetched?
No, let them translate and I'll give you my answer. Would you like to translate?
Oh, sorry, Microsoft was off. Bueno, una de las cosas que es importante tener en cuenta es que la contaminación es un negocio que mantiene la economía andando. Esto es, debido a la contaminación, pues se generan problemas de salud, los hospitales tienen trabajo, las funerarias tienen trabajo y en sí, pues un montón de intereses que están metidos y que de alguna u otra manera no tienen el más mínimo empacho en solucionar el problema de raíz. Su negocio se vería trastocado. Por lo tanto, eh, es, es un tema que toca muchos intereses. Rick está proponiendo que sean las mismas corporaciones las que se beneficien con un sistema económico, o con el sistema económico al solucionar estos problemas. De alguna u otra manera, es una propuesta que hace más bien en forma de pregunta si esto sería factible, y veríamos después de esta traducción la respuesta que tiene Mr. Keshe. Enrique, ¿quieres agregar algo?
Sí, Joseph. Dice, desde que habló el señor Keshe, dijo algo que me parece muy importante,
Sí.
que se reconozca que los gobiernos no están interesados, porque para ellos, bueno, lo vivimos mucho en México, ahora hay un boom de interés porque se abre la posibilidad de que capital extranjero venga a invertir en las áreas de petróleo y se está abriendo una publicidad enorme a que sigan con las mismas prácticas, y el gobierno no va a hacer nada que pueda estorbar esa llegada de capital, como la ven, para activar la economía. Que quienes debemos hacerlo, debemos ser el hombre ayudando al hombre, los ciudadanos, no los gobiernos, que eso tiene que ser que sigamos haciendo las cosas como hasta ahora se ha hecho, ampliando la escala y pudiendo participar en soluciones que puedan ser efectivas sin la necesidad de que las tenga que hacer el gobierno. Yo tendría algunas preguntas al respecto, porque el tema es maravilloso. Pero Rick luego le pidió hablar para añadir esta propuesta de que, aprovechando los conocimientos que ya se están generando y que ya se tienen en la fundación, por ejemplo, respecto al transporte, a la transportación, que puede ser tan limpia, tan rápida, con los reactores, pues se le proponga a las empresas grandes. Él ve en las grandes corporaciones posibles interesados en aplicar soluciones con la tecnología que cuida el ambiente y que evita que se contamine, como el transporte para llevar con mercancías a un lado o a otro. Lo lleva hasta el nivel de las pizzas Domino, ¿verdad? O sea, que las pidas y rápidamente te lo pueden llevar con un transporte que pudiera cruzar rápidamente la ciudad sin tener mayor problema. Pero el punto es que, en mi opinión, que ya no estaría contaminando, que aquellos que transportan bienes, servicios, etcétera, se interesen en hacerlo con vehículos que ya no contaminen, y que eso podría ser una primera entrada sin que tenga que necesariamente entrar el gobierno, sino por el propio interés de ahorro de dinero, y que también lleva el beneficio de la limpieza de la solución. Eso es lo que tengo. Yo tendría unas preguntas de decir, lo voy a decir en inglés primero. Mr. Keshe, this proposal of yours, that is great, that it would be the citizens, we the people will do the things, as you say, and we the people...
You're breaking up. We can't hear you. You start breaking up. You start breaking up. We hear you in bits.
Oh, my goodness, I don't know what to do.
Okay, speak slowly, please.
Fine. Yeah, we're fine here. I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Enrique.
Here, I start again? Sure. What you mentioned is great, but this solution, this is the way of doing it, not trying to get the government in doing general things, but we the people doing things that can be done for the interest of those who make things happen. And
let me explain to you what is about to happen in the
sure,
coming weeks. In the coming weeks and months, um, the different part groups independently, but in collaboration with the Keshe Foundation, will launch the CO2 boxes around the world. It's just a matter of building it up to the point of momentum. So in the coming, let's say 3 months, 6 months, we see several million of these CO2 kits will be offered around the world in different shape or forms. We are working in the background to set this up. We expect, if things go the way we think and the way we see and the way it's going to be done, something about 1 to 10 million units a month will be in the market. In 2 years' time, at that rate, an increasing rate, we will see start the changes. On the other hand, at the same time, in the development of the dynamic reactors, we see possibility to submit reactors which can produce or absorb or extract CO2 at the rate of the static reactors. So the choice goes back to the governments, and then the choice goes back on how much we can replace. We foresee a dynamic system which can tune to absorb CO2 or different materials according to their gravitational magnetic field at the cost of around $25. Maybe less. That's a retail value. A static system will be about around the same price. But why do we need a static and we need a dynamic? It depends on what we can and what is going to be used for. This is what is, it's already started, it's not something we're going to do. We have already commercialized the, what do you call it, the static units. Pardon? CO2 kits. Very soon we release the new system like a CH4 kit. The CH4 is a methane gas, which is part of the global warming. Then we will release on weekly basis, as of second week of January, third week of January, a new product to change the course of in every aspect. Even to solve part of the problem which the CO2 has caused, global warming has caused. So the change is in the hand of individuals. You can't blame no government, nobody did anything for us. And as I said to our Chinese delegation when they were here, any profit which is made from the sales of these units has to directly, as part of our commitment, to be converted to units to be sent to the third world nations and the people who don't have the finances to do so. What does this mean? We sell a kit for 25 euro. The profit on it is, let's say, 5 euro, 2.5 or 2 or 1 euro, which comes back to the foundation as the donation to the foundation. We do not need the money. That money, we have given the instruction to the manufacturers to produce units to be given to the African nations and to the third world nations, to the poor people who need the CO2 to be able to produce energy for themselves, to be independent and progress. So as now we become financially in creating funds through donations of the systems we have given to the manufacturers, they agreed what percentage is coming to the foundation. I have told them the foundation does not need money to come back. You invoice us for the units, which is our profit, to be given to the third world nations and people who cannot have and they cannot fall behind others. So we brought in for the first time the ethos of Keshe Foundation in sharing knowledge, technology and the wealth across the world. So now when you buy a kit for 25 euro, most of it will go to produce more kits to be given to the governments, to the countries, that they can produce the CO2 to help their environment. They can produce CO2 to create energy. They can create CO2 that it can be used for a fertilizer. So all our income which comes to the foundation, unless we need it for any specific purpose, will go back to bring the humanity to the same level. We expect about 10 million, 20 million units a month across the Keshe Foundation factory, what do you call it, production organizations. And all this money will go back immediately into countries like India, African nations, that they receive electricity, power generation, and the rest as we develop, they receive the next unit. So we have started the motion, we have started the movement, and there is no way to stop it. Because now extremely richest people around the world have joined us. They are financing it. And the process of change, global change, even with CO2, has taken root amongst the people, financed by the people, for the people around the world. Maybe this is a good news from today's workshop that we can tell you. It's not a dream, now it has started. You want to translate?
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Muy interesting.
Yeah.
Acuérdate, Joseph, ese es el propósito nuestro.
Sí, sí, pero espérame, primero déjame. La, la solución del problema de la contaminación eh, lo se ve de una manera no a nivel de gobierno, sino más bien como un sistema que empieza por los individuos. En los próximos meses, digamos, la Fundación Keshe tiene prevista la colocación de alrededor de 1 millón de unidades de generadores para atrapar el CO2, y obviamente esto se irá incrementando con el tiempo, y se piensa que pues, en los próximos 2 años la cantidad de estos reactores que atrapan el CO2 pues sea tan grande que la solución se empiece a dar en ese momento o a ese nivel, obligando y forzando a los gobiernos a tomar una solución. Causa un gran asombro porque obviamente no se trata de culpar a nadie, sino realmente hacer que la humanidad tenga, o la gente que vive en este planeta tenga la conciencia suficiente y empiece a adquirir esa conciencia para empezar a resolver los problemas de otra manera. Los reactores de CO2 también ayudan en otros temas y, y resuelven al mismo tiempo problemas de la contaminación junto con otros problemas de energía. La buena noticia de todo esto es precisamente que en poco tiempo estas unidades van a estar disponibles a la venta por el equivalente a 25 euros, y las ganancias que se obtengan de esta venta no van a ser puestas directamente para enriquecer a la fundación o a los miembros de la fundación, sino para hacer disponible esta tecnología a, a las personas de menores recursos. Esto es, gente que vive en África y en países del tercer mundo. Entonces, una de las finalidades de todo esto no es enriquecerse, sino poner a la disposición de la humanidad la tecnología. Esto es excelente porque no se ve desde un punto de vista egoísta, sino se pone desde un punto de vista humanista. Y el cambio de enfoque, pues también generará una reacción distinta. ¿Algo que agregar, Enrique?
No, yo tengo anotadas unas cifras que dijo que en los próximos 3 a 6 meses se producirán varios millones.
Varios millones, hasta llegar a 20 millones, de entre 10 y 20 millones mensuales en el mercado en los próximos 2 años, así es.
No, dijo
Perdón.
que de 1 a 2 millones por mes es lo que
Ajá,
se quiere llegar, ¿sí?
en
Y
los,
van a ser
sí.
tanto reactores dinámicos como de los estáticos para que se puedan usar en diferentes condiciones que puedan ser utilizados, pero de los dinámicos, que son los que van a ser más poderosos, es de lo que dijo que costarán cuando mucho 25 euros. Habló de la empresa, no sé, ¿te recuerdas el nombre de la empresa que lo está
No,
produciendo?
no dio el nombre de la empresa.
Ah, ok, muy bien. Si me permites, yo quiero preguntarle, ¿sí?
Sí, sí,
Okay.
adelante.
Mr. Keshe, this is a great announcement. As you said, the brilliant announcement of the day. And
No, this is what we always said, that we'll leave it, and once we set out our ethos at the beginning when we set the foundation up. And now that there are financial organizations, companies, actually they're all companies owned by the single owners. These are the people who have gathered wealth, and through their wealth they see that now they can put their wealth back into changing the humanity. I have had the pleasure to be in touch with 3-4 of them in the past 2 weeks. They know their companies financially will make a lot of money, but they have allocated major part of this unconditionally to the foundation for development, or what do you call it, for as a donation to the foundation. And in turn we have told them very easily, whatever is our share, produce systems at the rate you will see right with your profit, and we tell you where to send it around the world. Because we cannot saturate Africa and leave the Indians or the rest aside. They can stop the systems at customs, but in a way, when the way we penetrate, it can reach governments and people and can do a lot of good. In a way, something which I've said before, the CO2 is the new energy fuel. The GANS, copper oxide, is the new energy fuel. And it has to be the way it has been in the universe, free at the point of delivery. You don't need to pay for the fuel, you don't need to pay for the energy, you don't need to waste all your life to work, to be able to eat, to live, to move, to heat, to have shelter. We have put the Oasis system in operation as of last week when the Chinese group, Mr. Abdullahi, was here. We will give the full design to Mr. Abdullahi and the Chinese and the Italians. And most probably when we meet the Americans in the coming days, that the Oasis unit will become fundamental backbone of the Keshe Foundation, which means heat, warmth, energy, shelter at the point of demand, and we reckon at the cost of maybe $25 to $50. We have made a move, and now we've shown the fuel. There is nobody, even if anything happens to us here, the rest of the world has the knowledge, they have started it, and it's done by hundreds of thousands of people. Now we enter the point of what we said, equality. Because we have the knowledge, and the foundation is the only organization which has both the knowledge and the means and the power to deliver world peace through equality. And now we have started it. We are completing our 2014 Ethos roadmap.
I think if you can deliver the CO2 kits by drone in Africa, then you'd really have something.
No, we give it to the Amazon to deliver it with their own drones. The CO2 kits will be offered through Amazon, the Chinese Amazon organization, which is the same, Alibaba, and other nations. It'll be, we're thinking at about, in the next, it's just building up the production in the next 4 to 8 weeks. And you can buy CO2 kits even at petrol stations. This is how it's planned, and that's how we're going ahead with.
That's a perfect vision there of selling CO2
It's
kits
not a
at a
vision.
gas station. It's perfect.
It's not a vision. That's what is going to be done. We're gonna make.
They should be required by law to give away CO2 kits at gas stations.
Let them translate first.
Enrique,
It's
ahora sí
long.
que
It's a
está
beautiful,
genial
but
esto.
too long story.
Ujú.
But you have to translate.
Yeah.
Ya.
Adelante, yo te completo.
Lo que pasa es que me perdí. Perdón, pero ahora sí me perdí. Me quedé. Bueno, es el mecanismo de venta de estos equipos es a través de Amazon. La estrategia obviamente pues hace llegar los kits de CO2 que son los primeros productos que se van a ofertar. Va a haber un anuncio en base semanal quizá de nuevos productos, pero el primer producto son los kits de CO2 que resuelven el tema de energía y además medioambiental, y la distribución va a ser a través de Amazon, y obviamente lo importante es que el mercado gane un momentum para que ya no se pueda detener este mecanismo de venta ni tampoco de nueva tecnología ni de disposición de la nueva tecnología. Eh, Básicamente eso es en resumen. Enrique, ¿qué más agregas?
Bueno, hay puntos muy importantes, como por ejemplo, nos dice que él ha estado en contacto en estas últimas 2 semanas con financieros importantes, privados, evidentemente, que están dispuestos a participar y que tienen los medios para hacerlo, ¿no? Algunos de los grupos que ha visto tienen todo, tienen el interés y tienen los medios, y tienen la posibilidad de apoyar este proyecto, ¿no? Yo quiero decirle pues, que ese es el propósito de nuestra empresa y se lo quiero decir ahora en inglés.
Sí, dilo.
Fine, Mr. Keshe, perhaps we didn't say everything, but it said the main concepts.
The main part of it. So,
So
this is what is the outcome of what is to be and where we are going. And in so many ways, a lot of people have to understand what is concerned for you as air pollution has become part of the work of the foundation, but it has to be done the correct way. And this is what we see, the correct way, at least the first step towards correcting, and at the same time, being able to deliver and not just to be a talk. We have started delivering the CO2 kits. You have to realize something which we've just been informed, that how can I put it? I better keep quiet because then I cause more problem for the people who run away, and they run away further. The process of producing nanomaterials will change the course of the humanity in so many ways, but it has to be done the correct way. And the future of the development is nanomaterial, not at $1,000 or $10,000 a kilogram, but at $1 per kilogram, because you produce it freely on back of any material you like. And this is the beginning of the change of the course. And this is what it is. Understanding the process. A lot of people say, how is this possible? I explain if you can translate in Spanish. You produce atomic matter, you change it to an molecular matter like a copper, to atomic matter like a nanomaterial, and then you separate the nanomaterial into a plasma. And creating plasma in such a simple way could never be imagined at no cost. And now you have a plasma, you have a sun in your hand. What would you like to do with the energy of the sun? The energy of the sun, from the sun to here, when it hits the earth atmosphere, changes to nitrogen. Nitrogen becomes the food of the man and the life of the body of the man through amino acid. And that's what we've done. That's a shortcut to exactly what you are doing. You are producing a plasma, which is like a star, and then you are using its energy for what you need. And if it sounded to you too scientific, now any layman can understand. Sun is a plasma. And now you have learned how to create miniature plasmas. The collective energy released by them can be changed to what would you like. More oil, more heat, more clothing, more water, whatever you need. You can translate.
Ok. Bueno, la creación de nanomateriales es un concepto que va a cambiar y revolucionar a la humanidad. ¿Por qué? Porque con un costo menor se podrá tener prácticamente cualquier elemento que se desee. Esto es con el principio de la creación. Se hacen o se atrapan las partículas atómicas de los materiales y se hacen en plasma. Esto es importante. El plasma es el equivalente a un sol. El sol es un plasma, de hecho. Entonces, cuando se empiece a hacer los materiales con este principio, se va a tener un pequeño sol que va a facilitar la creación a través del plasma de cualquier material. Esto es a grosso modo. Enrique, complemento.
Sí, ya nos menciona, por ejemplo, que nos dio todos los ejemplos, pero, por ejemplo, hablando del nitrógeno, pues nos dice que del nitrógeno es la capacidad de aumentar la producción de comida en el campo, ¿verdad? Y es muy impactante todo el cambio que esto representa. Y como dice, el plasma se va a producir sin costo, no solamente bajo, sino sin costo. Y eso hace que toda la economía, o lo que le llamamos economía, que más bien es un panorama de negocios y no una búsqueda de bienestar para todos, que debería ser la economía, pues va a cambiar y va a poder tomar otro rumbo. Ese es el empiezo del nuevo rumbo, nos dice. Hasta ahí yo capté. Okay, Mr. Keshe, it is really great for us. As you remember from the first talk we had with you, this is the purpose of our company, the company we integrate. And we want you to take into account that in Mexico, there is another company that is ready to participate in that effort, perhaps not with the financial funds that are needed, but with the knowledge, the interest, and the mission of participating in this great effort and with this scope that you are mentioning, which is great for us.
The thing is, Rick knows, as we discussed offline yesterday, I think, that the producing companies or organizations will have their own what we call private workshops, which they can openly share knowledge, how and what they developed, and how and others can benefit by it. This has never been done. Never international companies who are there to make profit have opened their laboratories to each other across different nations and share knowledge freely. And this is what is the next step. In the coming, most probably after Christmas, the Italian factory, the Japanese factory, the Chinese, and the other people who produce around the world, producers, not knowledge seekers, will come together on a weekly basis. Sometimes they want at the moment 2 to 3 times a week to keep update with each other. We'll start these knowledge seekers, but they'll be locked up in a secure way. This is that just for the manufacturers. So we have achieved the next steps of collaboration of knowledge free of patent. This is the biggest thing. And if you start a company which can produce units of different shape or form for Mexico, you will be added to this. We don't want, what do you call it, one-man band just coming to learn. If you have a company or organization which can do, this will be added to the manufacturing group of Keshe Foundation.
Fine.
So this is what you can, if you have a production capability, you can join in the group after New Year to learn from the others doing. They have already started sharing knowledge. We have told them what the other one is doing, what the other one is doing. They already are aware of what they are doing with each other and what's got to be done. And yesterday we joined up the first 2 companies. The first 2 companies start communicating and talking to each other in what want to do, that they don't spend money and research on the or development costs on the same thing in the, that it wastes time and money. So this is not a talk. The first connection was made yesterday. They already have start talking to each other, and they know the condition is freely unconditional share of knowledge and technology. And after New Year, the Italians will join the group sometime this week, most probably, and then the Japanese will do after the 15th of this month. So what it means, a huge, forces of manufacturers will come together to produce the same thing at the same time. That will be the same cost and more or less near enough the same design, and they're helping each other if they think of something new. So this has already started.
Great.
So you can join them. If you have a manufacturing capability in Mexico, it doesn't matter how small your financial background is, you can use the company in China to produce materials for you that you create the initial finances to set up the factories to support your own nation through the foundation knowledge.
Fantastic. Very well. ¿Traduces
No, traduce tú.
You want to
Bueno.
translate?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. Nos dice el señor Keshe a nosotros que esto se está armando a nivel internacional rápidamente, con un principio de que estén empresas manufactureras que quieran participar y que estén integradas en una red de intercambio de conocimiento y de tecnología para poder producir al mismo tiempo, para surtir a los programas que surjan de este nuevo enfoque. Que si tenemos una compañía mexicana que pueda manufacturar, como es el caso, que nosotros podemos ser añadidos a esa red, en ese principio, de que vamos a poder conocer lo que los chinos están haciendo, lo demás, y también recibir los beneficios del financiamiento para poner la fábrica, como debe estar y poder participar. Esto es una gran noticia para nosotros. Fine.
Ok, es correcto. Yo nada más he estado leyendo algunas de las preguntas que están en live stream. para aquellos que preguntan, hay alguien que pregunta por ahí, ¿cómo podría hacerse llegar los kits de CO2 que vende la fundación si no llega Amazon ni Alibaba? Mr. Keshe, there's a question in the live stream internet about how will you reach the population that doesn't have Amazon or some Alibaba to for the products you will start producing and distributing?
The process is very simple. We monitor, we were talking in a very simple way. We monitor what is used by which nation and how we can penetrate the population in knowledge and everything else.
Okay.
There are, at least as far as we know, near enough to Keshe Foundation in every nation on this planet. It's very shocking, but this is something which we were talking to earlier in the past few days, and what we are trying to do in the coming weeks. So somebody has to do it according on the webmaster side, or the people who run the forum, that every Keshe Foundation and who's responsible for it in which country has to be registered, and unregistered Keshe Foundations to be posted on the forum. And through that, we need somebody who can collaborate with everybody else. There is something which I have to add to what we have agreed with the manufacturers.
Okay.
They'll be kept a track of which country buys and what they bought and what is the share of the foundation in that purchase. So let's say if Americans buy 100 units and this makes $100 for the foundation, the $100 with earmarks for the Keshe Foundation in the United States. So the money coming to us, if we do not produce units to give to the poor in America, will go to Keshe Foundation in America for the building of or a structure of teaching and other facilities which is part of the foundation ethos. This we have agreed, and this is going to be done. So the 4 or 5 manufacturing points around the world will become the distributor of the wealth back to the nations where it came from. So we are not building another Vatican that all the money comes to Keshe Foundation in Holland. We have told them, if we need money for our daily needs, we ask how much of it has to come to us that we can carry on. The rest goes back to the country where the money was created for, the wealth created for the people of that nation. This brings a question which we understand. As you said, the countries don't have Alibaba, but they have the Keshe Foundation. And through the Keshe Foundation, we will organize the distribution. There'll be some misuse and abuse, that's normal, I've seen enough of it. As you know, 40% of United Nations food never gets to the people, it gets sold to the people. Because people have to make money out of it. This is one of the biggest problems with food distribution with United Nations. What is given free becomes money for other people. So this is important for anyone around the world who has or set up Keshe Foundation for your country, to get yourself registered with the foundation very quickly. Who is responsible? And we monitor any abuse, so we can always announce. And on the other hand, the manufacturers are given a label that they work with the foundation and they keep to the ethos of the foundation. So if another company in China opens manufacturing, they're quite welcome. They're not competition. Because if they keep to the ethos of the foundation, they help us to help the Chinese and the rest of the world. Those who come to do a quick job and make money out of the bandwagon, they'll find out those monies will be spent in hospitals and the rest of it. Because our wish is our command, and it'll be stuck to. People will find out very soon they'll rob themselves. You want to translate?
Yeah. Bueno, haciendo la respuesta a los que escuchas en livestream. Para aquellos lugares donde no llega mecanismos de distribución como Amazon o Alibaba, no deben de preocuparse. Va a existir un mecanismo a través de la Fundación Keshe para hacer llegar los productos que se requieran. De hecho, uno de los mecanismos que se está planteando que debe funcionar es que se va a llevar un registro de los productos que se requieran, y obviamente parte del dinero que se recaude de las naciones, vamos a decir, como Estados Unidos, va a ser para financiar parte de las fundaciones de Keshe y ayudar a los países de vías de desarrollo a través de ese dinero. O sea, la Fundación Keshe no es una fundación con fines de lucro, y lo que se busca es precisamente hacer llegar a toda la humanidad esta tecnología. Si no es a través de Amazon, todo podrá ser a través de la misma Fundación Keshe, con representantes en los diferentes lugares del mundo. Enrique, creo que hay mucho que complementar, pero me gustaría que tú lo hicieras también en la medida de lo que es nuestra compañía.
Bueno, no, ahorita creo que lo de nuestra compañía pues, está muy claro. A nosotros
Sí,
nos
claro.
interesa hacerlo, pero lo que dice el señor Keshe, como tú lo has dicho muy claramente, es una organización que es una red, va a ser una red de voluntad, de buena voluntad, donde si alguien, una empresa, porque es una empresa lo que se tiene que hacer,
Claro.
de un país, ya sea México o cualquier otro, quiere participar. Él dijo de China, por ejemplo, que ya está una Keshe Foundation de China, pero si alguna otra empresa quiere también hacer lo mismo, servir a los chinos, ayudar a este proceso, es bienvenida. Se le apoyará, se le tratará con el mismo interés que a la que está fungiendo como representante de la fundación. Lo que se quiere hacer esto es rápido, es que todo esté rápidamente para que se pueda dar a conocer y se pueda establecer las ligas entre representantes de fundaciones para poder acelerar el proceso de intercambio de cualquier cosa de conocimiento de tecnología, ya sea directamente en la que está siendo enseñada para nosotros, estamos experimentando, sino también en cuanto a poner la fábrica y poner el sistema de distribución o lo que fuera necesario. Es un enfoque enorme, precioso.
Así es. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Are you there, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, we are here. We're just discussing things in the background.
Yeah, we can hear the giggling.
No, because what happened, I tell these knowledge seekers here around the table, 3 of them, these knowledge seekers, actually 4 of us, is they do not know what they got themselves into. The way the foundation is going. To keep to the ethos of the foundation is not easy. Especially for the man who's destroyed everything and is part of his habit to steal. This is the biggest problem. Even you always have to pray, as I always say, give part of your soul, that what you need comes to you according to what the other souls agree. Then when you receive it, it's a gift you adore and you can keep. Because once you steal, you always have to worry about where I'm going to hide what I've stolen. But when you give, what comes back is always precious. And this is the way the universe works. You cannot steal, not from one to give to another, and not to steal to give to everybody else. what you call Robin Hood job does not work. But if you give freely, what is there to give back will give back freely. Then you have not stolen, and they accommodate themselves. And this is the way I live. I always live that way, and this is the way it has to be. We have made the knowledge available, and it's for man to share with man equally. If they want to rob to have one more Rolls Royce and 2 more private jets, they have no value. And we see now what we call philanthropists who actually, with being philanthropists, are killing more people with the wealth they thought people thought they are getting freely. Vaccination, free vaccination, philanthropists to kill. We don't do anything free. We gave the knowledge is for you how to make it available to each other to benefit by totality. And this is the difference. We gave it with one condition. The only condition put to this technology, and everything is given free, that will not be used to harm no one. That will be kept, because this is the way people will go out of their way to help each other. And we've now seen it. When I sit with the manufacturers, I talk to the manufacturers and how they are doing it, to me is absolute pleasure. Because they have realized with all the wealth they have, they can make more wealth, but they have to spend more of it to give the right way to the people. And this is the way it's going to go. It's not going to change. It's our wish, and as I always say, once you make that wish, the wish is your command. There are a lot of changes coming through, but first of all, it took us to do the things, and it brought a lot of support, and now people are supporting it to see it through. The interesting point is now the governments are there to support it. And the most beautiful thing is governments, they have to do it, because now they know, every man in every nation knows how to make a CO2, and very soon how to make energy, and they are not going to be presidents if they say, people, you have to pay taxes and you have to do this and that. Because there is no taxes when you don't buy fuel, when you don't buy heating, when you don't buy food, you can supply everything you need yourself from air. Then they have to become to common senses that everything has to be equal. Keshe Foundation has become the nightmare of the kings and empire makers of this world. And them, they're allowing us to do it. They have uprooted themselves. Now we see it from in 2015. I will issue the 2015 mandate roadmap, and we'll see the way we stuck to the roadmap of 2014. We fulfill the 2015 roadmap too. And then that will be a shock to a lot of kings. A lot of kings will go through very fast. The point of balance will come. If you want to translate.
Wow. Enrique, esta sí te la dejo a ti porque es muy profunda y todavía estoy con esto en la cabeza. Enrique, Enrique, tu micrófono.
Adelante, Joseph, yo te completo, no te preocupes, confía.
Ya. Bueno, esto es, bueno, la respuesta que está dando Mr. Keshe es en realidad una filosofía de vida y entendimiento de cómo funciona el universo realmente. Él dice que aquel que roba siempre tendrá que estar cuidándose y estar alerta porque ha roto un equilibrio en el universo. Aquel que entrega y que da de manera gratuita recibe lo mismo y es más, en mayor cantidad. Su filosofía de vida precisamente consiste en ayudar, en dar, en siempre dar. El universo siempre le regresa en mayor cantidad todo aquello que necesita. Entonces, esto es una filosofía de vida, de cómo vivir. Es una filosofía que radica precisamente en entender que el dar y el estar en equilibrio con el universo siempre te mantiene precisamente en, en, en eso, dentro de un equilibrio. No te va a hacer falta nada, no necesitas nada. El, el universo te va a proporcionar o te proporciona siempre lo que necesitas. Y esto pues cambia todo el sistema, el sentido de lo que es el gobierno y el sentido de lo que es la economía como se le conoce. Dice que la Fundación Keshe es el coco y el temor de cuanto gobierno y reinado hay en el mundo, que solamente está enfocado en beneficiarse a ellos mismos. La principal filosofía de la Fundación Keshe precisamente consiste en dar, en poner a la disposición del ser humano los beneficios de su conocimiento, los beneficios de la tecnología. No necesita el ser humano por qué pagar por el agua o por qué pagar cuando el universo lo entrega de manera gratuita. Y no hay ningún sentido de pagar impuestos cuando el universo tiene todo disponible. Es increíble que los sistemas, por ejemplo, mecanismos de ayuda humanitaria, alimenticia, pues no tengan funcionamiento porque finalmente más del 40% de los alimentos que se disponen o se entregan por la población para ayudar a aquellos que lo necesitan, pues no llegan a su destino por intereses económicos. Este es uno de los ejemplos que pone como el robar. Yo creo, esto es una visión personal, que el fin del sistema económico y de gobierno como lo conocemos se está acercando. No quiere decir que va a ser de la noche a la mañana, ni quiere decir que los gobiernos no van a presentar batalla, ya lo hemos visto. La misma experiencia de Mr. Keshe, que fue retenido en el aeropuerto de Toronto cuando venía a proponer una solución medioambiental, ¿verdad? Eh, eh, los sistemas van a reaccionar y van a seguir, pero ya se puso en marcha un mecanismo que no puede ser detenido. Enrique, ¿algo que complementar?
Oh, yo creo que lo dijiste muy bien. Es la filosofía que siempre ha tenido el señor Keshe, nos lo dice, y es la filosofía de la Fundación, y es la filosofía a la que nos comprometemos los que participamos con ella.
Uh-huh.
I would like to add that this is the same philosophy that we have in our group. We have been trained, prepared to deal with these principles of fairness, of unity, and most of the concepts that we have are in the company we have. It is a company that is organized in unity. We are all equal. There is no big boss in there. We are all participating in the decisions. We deliver leadership of tasks to different people, but we all back up everybody. And we want to participate in this learning, designing, experimenting, fabricating, distributing, because we see our experience in the area of dealing with people is very great, fortunately. And it's not just an easy part of delivering it through Amazon or whatever. The people has to understand what it is. There is a service that is we have been able to do in liberating poverty, for instance. People is not aware of what can be done. They don't see the solutions, and we have to come up and help them to evolve their consciousness. And we are good at that. We have experience in that. and that will expand the benefits of your initiative. And we are with you, as I told you at the beginning. We are with you. We are the Keshe. Please consider us as Keshe, Mexican Keshe Foundation representatives, because we want to do that. This is our aim in being with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope we can keep the ethos of foundation within the people of this planet. Then we have moved on, and we'll see where the next step will take us.
Okay.
We got to see where we go, and how we can see people be right to themselves. As I always say, even pray for your enemies. I pray for the people who tried to kill me and my family. And in a way, the punishment is for them to punish themselves, or their souls to punish them. And if there is a punishment, or what we call reach equality and balance. So the whole principle of the work is to be able to bring the change in a smooth way. And this is the way we have set our way, and we will not change. But in a way, it's very hard for a lot of people to accept the change. And it'll come by example. And we have set the example to be done in the coming months and weeks. As the units become available, we will ask for which nation would like to receive it. So it becomes on what the fairness is, and which nation will receive how many of what units. So then between the Keshe Foundation worldwide, you have to decide out of, let's say, 1,000 units CO2 kits or energy kits, which nation has priority, which people in the nation have priority. The ones who want the poor to be looked after first, and then in the poor nation, the brother and the father of the guy who's in the Keshe Foundation doesn't take priority, then we see the maturity. And in a way, us giving systems which belongs to or is a part of the benefit of the foundation to humanity, we test the humanity to test himself. They don't understand it, but it will happen this way. They say, there's an old say, very famous say, they say, we test the gold with fire and man with gold. So we want to see who can stand the heat. And we'll see your people and any other nation who puts priority themselves or the others ahead of themselves. Then we understand the purpose of the foundation. You want to translate?
Enrique, perdón, me entretuvieron aquí con una visita y no escuché. ¿Puedes traducir? Y ahorita me reconecto.
Yo no estaba atendiendo, me hubieras avisado. No, el señor Keshe está abundando en decir que así, con estos principios, es como él ha actuado y como se actuará, y que cualquier organización que pueda y quiera participar de esta manera, pues va a poder participar en esta red maravillosa que se está planteando. Y yo creo que esa es la esencia de esto. Es, como se nota, una misión grande de un cambio de panorama de la vida para las personas, porque yo lo que veo por mi personal experiencia, yo fui director del Centro de Investigaciones para el Desarrollo Rural en México, y conozco que hay mucha resistencia, no solamente de los que se oponen por intereses a que surja una propuesta de justicia, de igualdad, sino de las propias gentes que pueden no darse cuenta de lo que este cambio significa. pero él dice que esto va a venir solo, que vamos a empezar con algunos, vamos a llamarle patrones a seguir, algunos voluntarios. Como siempre se tienen que seguir las cosas en la realidad, trabajar con los que quieren, y ese ejemplo servirá. Se requerirá, sí, promover esa conciencia, esa evolución de conciencia. Pero todo es empezar, y el que esté dispuesto a hacerlo, a participar en ello, pues está en el grupo, por así decirlo.
Ujú. Eric, ¿algo que adicionar?
No, yo creo que todo quedó dicho, muy bien dicho. Quería disculparme que no pude acompañarlos porque se me cayó el internet. Hasta ahora se reconectó. Eh, bueno, adelante, Joseph.
Ok, perfecto. Perdón, Enrique.
No, adelante.
Okay, Mr. Keshe, go ahead.
Okay, it's beautiful, beautiful.
Hello. Okay. Is there any other question? We nearly passed our 2 hours.
Well, I
This
didn't.
week was
There
mainly
isn't.
more learning, the announcement, than anything else, but it's part of the whole thing.
There was another question. Maybe we should reserve it for the next workshop because it might get involved a
What's
bit. The basic question was just to tease you with it. Enrique his group had a question about the Earth and the inner Earth and beings that live inside the Earth, and about the Caroline core. Can the Caroline core sustain life?
yes?
Do you want to leave
Of
that
course.
as a short answer for today?
Yeah,
Oh,
life exists. It
And
depends what we call life.
right. And so we can maybe get into that a little more in the next workshop, perhaps.
No problem.
yeah. I
Okay.
vote for leave it for the next workshop.
Yeah,
We'll see what
we can
comes
do it
up.
justice then.
All the
Yeah.
best. Speak next Thursday, Tuesday.
Yes, same time
Oh,
next
same
Tuesday,
time next.
and
And see you tomorrow for the children channel.
yes,
Oh,
exactly. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody from the Spanish-speaking sector, including the Mexican group and Eric as well. And thanks to everybody on live stream. And that's the end of the 5th Spanish-speaking knowledge speakers workshop.
Great
okay.
workshop.
Yes? Yeah,
Great
great.
workshop. Before we leave, there's some people that want to know how to contact Mr. Keshe. Para todos aquellos que quieran saber cómo contactarlo, les decimos que hay una página de internet que está en keshefoundation.org, es forum.keshefoundation.org, es donde pueden encontrar maneras para audios y grupos de trabajo, esto atendiendo a cómo contactar a Mr. Keshe, y sobre todo para aquellos que quieren planos de cómo construir los reactores, los pueden encontrar ahí precisamente en estas páginas de internet a través de los workshops. Ok, sorry.
Nuestro correo electrónico, Joseph, para preguntas en español.
Sí, ¿cuál es nuestro correo electrónico? Perdón, no me acuerdo, no lo tengo a la mano.
Keshe, Spanish speaking.
En nuestro correo electrónico, a ver, espérame. Ok, espérame. Es conocimiento avanzado, bueno, es el correo electrónico es ¿cuál es? Es oh, no lo tengo.
got the forum up there now. Is there a particular place in the forum for the Spanish that you wanted to highlight?
Well, there's our email, but I'm trying to open to see which is the address. There's an address, an email address, if they want to contact us.
Oh, yeah, I think that was in the workshop, perhaps, or one of the earlier ones. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put it in the last one. Oh, there it
Sí.
is. The Keshe
Habla hispana.
Okay. I
Ajá.
just highlighted here in the, this is in the forum. And here's your reply about the workshop. And it includes the email address there, so I can zero in on that. And they can see the live stream address there as well.
Sí. Yeah.
It'll take a few seconds to come through in the live stream. Just leave it up there until it comes through.
I can read it now. Ahí está, pueden encontrar los datos, donde pueden contactarnos, el correo electrónico y pues donde se encuentran en YouTube también pueden encontrar videos de Mr. Keshe. Desafortunadamente ellos están en inglés, pero les pueden dar ideas sobre la construcción de los reactores y los implementos que necesiten. Ahí pueden encontrar respuesta a algunas de sus dudas. Enrique. Eric, ¿algo más que adicionar?
Sí, muchas gracias a ustedes por la colaboración en todo. De nuevo, disculpas por no haber podido estar más tiempo con ustedes y ayudarles con la traducción. Es una fantasía poder tener al señor Keshe explicando todas sus cosas y espero que muchas personas nos sigan con este programa de informarle a las personas, al mundo entero, esta gran tecnología. Es una tecnología que es cierta, es verdad, no son mentiras. Yo mismo la he probado. Es decir, háganlo ustedes mismos y se dan cuenta que sí funciona. No es mentira. Las personas que han tratado de desacreditarlo únicamente lo hacen por cuidar sus propios intereses, porque saben que ya se les acabó el tiempo. Esta tecnología va a sacar el mundo adelante. Muchas gracias por habernos acompañado. Thank you very much, Rick, Vince, Enrique, Joseph. Ok, everybody. Gracias a todos. Adelante, Joseph.
Yo.
Ok.
Voy a hablar.
Enrique.
Perdón, estaba bloqueado. Aquí agradeciendo, realmente me parece un workshop extraordinario porque hemos escuchado la filosofía central del señor Keshe, de sus propias investigaciones, resultados y de la fundación. Y la verdad es que los que estamos interesados en un diferente modo de vida, estamos identificando en ello, en esta manera de pensar y en esas realidades que nos ofrece el camino que estábamos esperando para poder trabajar en esta manera que también nos propone de ser en unidad, en intercambio, sin barreras, sino con un concepto claro de ayudar al prójimo como a nosotros mismos. Para eso hay que quererse a uno primero, para poder querer a los demás como a uno mismo. Pero este es el camino que estábamos esperando y la organización que se está proponiendo me parece extraordinaria. Nosotros estamos ya participando, sin lugar a dudas, y también preparándonos en las tecnologías con la ayuda de Eric y todos los demás, evidentemente. Así que gracias, Eric, gracias, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you, Joseph for the translation. Very good. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you all too. It was a great workshop.
Ok,
Anything else to add?
ya, misma hora, mismo día. Aquí los esperamos para nuestro próximo sexto Spanish Speaking Knowledge Seeker Workshop. Thanks, Rick, for making it possible. Vince, thank you. Enrique y Eric por el apoyo en la traducción. Thanks.
Gracias a ustedes. Nos vemos por el canal privado.
Sale. That's it.
Okay. Bye-bye, Enrique, Joseph, and
Bye-bye,
Vince,
Rick.
Eric, and all the rest.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you
Bye.
very,
And this
thank
is
you very
the
much.
official end of the 5th Spanish-speaking Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Very happy.
Sale en el privado.
Listo, por qué no me timbras?
Te
Yo sé,
timbro.
porque